Today I'm going to be mixing brown icing, and you would think that's not a big deal, just get some brown food coloring, but if you don't have brown food coloring, I'm going to do it from the primary colors to make it interesting. Brown is another color that people have very specific ideas about what brown they're looking for, so you need to verify with people before you make a cake and before you decorate it what brown they're going for. A lot of brides had color schemes, especially in the fall, that are either autumn leaves or brown and sage green or brown and blue. And they're very popular, but they're very specific. So if somebody says, I'm having a brown and blue color theme, you don't want to show up with this if they mean this. And you don't want to show up with this if they mean that. So just make sure that you're checking with people. And as you can see, if you're looking at this, this is a fan deck with paint colors. Brown has all of the primary colors in it. It can go from very pink and very red to more green because it has more blue and yellow in it. So as I'm mixing these, I'm just going to use the three primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, and we're going to get to where we want to be based on those three colors, not using brown food coloring. The easiest way to get brown icing is obviously to use brown food coloring, and you can get, you know, several shades of brown. This one is taupe. This is an Americolor taupe. It's a very pale brown. This one is more yellow, and that is a warm brown, and it says it's warm, so it's got the red and the yellow in it. And this is chocolate brown. It's a little bit darker, and it has probably, looks like it's got a little bit more yellow in it. But you need to be careful, like I said, to make sure that you're getting the right ones. I'm not going to use these. I'm going to use, let's see, we'll use royal blue. Let me put these back. I'm going to use royal blue. I'm going to use super red and lemon yellow. These look like they're the ones that have just real basic primary colors. The primary colors in the color wheel are red, yellow, and blue. And then in between those you have these two make green, these two make orange, and these two make purple. When you mix all of them together, they're going to make brown, but different shades of it depending on how much of each color is in it. I did another video showing how to tell what balance of color is in brown food coloring, because brown food coloring, like I said, is made up of all of these colors. And usually there's a lot of red in it, so I'm going to start with red. And I'm actually just going to do drops of this because I want to do, I'm not going to use the toothpicks. I'm going to do drops because if you're doing this, you want to balance the three. And so we're going to do proportionally, like drops of each food coloring. Okay, so there's 1 drop of red. I'm going to put 2 drops of red. Okay, 2 drops of red. 1 drop of blue. Now that's kind of a bigger drop, so we're going to see. But I just want to do this with the drop. You can do this with toothpicks if you want to really control the amounts. So we've got 2 drops of red, 1 drop of blue, and 1 drop of yellow. The drops obviously are not going to be exactly the same size, so it might be different, but we're going to mix this up. And you can see already, see how the yellow and the blue are mixing to make the green there? Let me hold that up. See, there's green right here. So the red and the green, when you put it together, is going to dull everything down. It's just the way that mixing works. And you see how we have this little rainbow of color here? That's very cute, except it's kind of dark. But we don't want that. We want it to be brown, and we're just going to mix this in and see what happens. As you're mixing this, you really want to make sure that you're scraping the bowl and getting all of the food coloring mixed in, because it will kind of cling to the sides of the bowl, and then you'll get streaks, and that is not good. Like, see right here, there's still red right there. So you really just need to make sure that you're mixing this in really well. Okay, so now we have what I would call a very unattractive shade of taupe, which is very green. It's very green. This is gross. If somebody wants to use this color on their cake, okay, I don't know. But because it looks very green, I'm going to add some more red to it to counteract that. And we'll see what happens now with just one more drop of red. Now we have what I would call a very reddish brown, and it does actually look brown, but it has a very kind of brick tone to it. And if I wanted to get like a darker chocolate brown, I could try adding some black. Black also has all of the colors in it, so that would tone it down. But this actually does look brown, but it has a red tint. I'm going to do one more drop of blue. Oh, that's a big drop. That might be like the equivalent of 2 drops. And more red, because if I add the blue, it's going to turn it more purple, and I want to keep that red tint to it. So let's try that. And at this point, we're just trying to get it darker. I think, you know, this color, actually, I should take a little bit of this out. Might be too late. I'm going to keep some of this aside just to use that for comparison. Even though it has a little bit of the blue in it, it should be okay. At this point, we're just trying to get this darker. And, you know, it is going in the brown direction, but I think you might have to add some black to it. And, you know, another way of doing this is just to use cocoa powder. You can use cocoa powder and it will tint the icing, but it will make it turn chocolate. It'll taste like chocolate. So if you don't want chocolate icing, then don't do that. But you can start with that and then use the food coloring in it to make it darker. So let me just mix this up and then we'll take a look at it. After adding that blue, it's really blue. I actually like this color. I would say that this, I could call this a brown, but it's got a lot of blue in it, and it's kind of tending toward the purple. And if we compare it to the first, you can see the difference. Like, this is so much darker, but it's very blue. It's got a lot of blue in it. So what I'm going to, and I think that if you put this on a cake, you know, honestly, I think if you put this on a cake, it wouldn't look brown. A lot of times colors depend on what it's next to. It's like a comparison thing. If you put this on a cake next to this one is going to look brown and this one's going to look purple, but this does look brown on its own. I'm going to add some more yellow. I'm going to put in one more drop of yellow, which basically, I'm trying to think how many drops. I'll put in the description of this video all of the amounts that I did, just to keep track as we're progressing. But you might want to start using the toothpicks at this point, where you dip the toothpick into the jar and then put it in here so you can control how much you're putting in. I just wanted to use the drop so that I could say 1 drop of red, 1 drop of blue. Let's do this and see what happens. The extra yellow, and I forgot to take a sample of the last one, which is too bad. I'm going to do that right now while I'm thinking about it to do that. See, if you look at these two together, this one looks a lot more pink and this one looks a lot more green because of the balance of the colors that we put in. This is actually a pretty, I would call this maybe a dark taupe. This is not like a chocolate brown, but it is a decent brown color. And I think I'm going to do 1 more drop of the red because that yellow took it in a really green direction. And green is opposite red on the color wheel. So this is going to kind of balance that out. It might take it too far red. We'll find out. This is the kind of thing that you just have to mix. You can start with the cocoa powder, like I said. That will help because it gives you that brown color and then you can just adjust it from there. And obviously, if you can just buy the brown food coloring, I'll put the link to that in the description. And I do have a coupon for 10% off at Oasis Supply if you want to get your food coloring there. You can get the AmeriColor food colors there, and there's a discount code in the description for 10% off, and that's my affiliate link. But, you know, it's easier to buy brown food coloring, but if you're in a pinch, and I just wanted to do this for fun. I like color mixing. It's kind of fun. Adding that red to it took it back in this direction, but it's darker. And you can see the difference here. This one is a lot more red, and this one had the yellow in it, so it's a lot more green. So I'm going to put this here. And I mean, look, they're all brown. It's just a different shade. And I still haven't gotten to like a chocolate brown, which I think you would have to do the black. But the thing about black, like I said, is it has all the colors in it anyway, so we should be able to mix it. I think I'm going to put more red and more yellow because I know that the food coloring, when I tested this brown food coloring from AmeriColor, it had a lot of orange in it. So if I make this with a little more orange, which would be red and yellow put together, that might darken it enough. So 1 more, and then we'll see what happens with that. Yes. Okay. This, I would look at this icing all on its own and say that's brown. It doesn't have any kind of weird green tint to it. It's not, I wouldn't say this is taupe. This is brown icing. And if you compare it to these other ones, you can see how much greener this one is, because that was the one with the blue and the yellow, which is green. This was a little lighter and it had more of the orange in it, but it didn't have a lot of the orange food coloring, which is the red and the yellow together. This was the first one that we did that was just the red. So these are okay brown colors. I would say that of all these three, this one is the least brown because it's the greenest. But this, basically I added red and yellow at the end, and that made it brown. So I would suggest if you're mixing brown icing from scratch using just these colors, the red and the yellow at the end really took this down to brown. It's not taupe, it's not pinky brown, it's brown. So start with the orange, which would be the yellow and the red together, and then add some blue, and it'll take the orange icing down to a brown color. And then just keep adding as you need, but really stick with these two and use this as the counterbalance to take it into a kind of neutralize the orange. That seemed to work. This is a really nice brown, and I definitely would be happy to use this on a cake. Let me move this. I would be fine using this on any cake that somebody said, I want brown. I think that's fine. And if they want a chocolate brown that's a really dark, you are just going to have to add more of it, or maybe you could put some black in it. Or like I said, start with cocoa powder if you don't mind the chocolate flavor. If the cake is chocolate, that's perfect. That's the easiest way to do it. This combination gave me a really good brown color. And if anyone told me on their cake that they wanted an autumn cake with orange and brown, I would not be afraid to use this combination. I will put all of this information in the description because I know I added a lot of color to this, but that worked out really well. So leave me any questions and I will talk to you later.